With your decades of experience with the travels and the education, if you could talk about 2 or 3 of the most healing plants that our listeners that are, like, available, that they can
Yeah.
go and get. Talk a bit about a few of the plants that really kinda stand out in your mind.
And they're so affordable, Mike. They're budget based, and there's everybody today is trying to sell you some product that's life extending or nootropic or that will promises to biohack. Biohacking has to do with three things, and you can do some of them for free. One of them is controlling sugar. You gotta get rid of the sugar or anything that turns into sugar, because that'll silence one of the regulation system. It's called IGF-1, insulin-like growth factors. You need growth factors when you're young and you're growing. After the age of 20, you don't want growth factors. You're going to be growing cancer. So you got to
Gotcha.
silence this measure called IGF-1 that gets in every lab test we get, and you silence it by cutting down on sugar, keeping your blood sugar low. That's number one. You got to silence another sensor. There are two sensors that say, hey, one of them is for sugar. That's when we were eating plants. And the other one is 5 billion years old. It's a protein sensor. Sad because back in those days, there were only bacteria, and the protein sensors told you that there was stuff to eat, protein to eat. And if there wasn't any, it would shut down the system, go into hibernation, so it could go into repair and regeneration. So one system is sugar based, the other protein based. The sugar is IGF-1. The protein is called TOR or mTOR, mammalian target of rapamycin. TOR is what tells the master regulator. It says, hey, you're going to give immortality to cancer cells, or you're going to give immortality to the whole system. So the minute you can, so with protein, we eat way too much protein in America. We've got to cycle our protein. We need protein, but the first protein you want to get is recycling the proteins that are in your recycling basket inside every cell through the recycling mechanisms of autophagy. And then, but you got to really, to biohack, control these two, the intakes of sugar and cycle your protein. Don't eat protein every day. Eat it twice a week with a few days in between. Don't protein overload because you're going to look buff and muscular, go to Santa Monica and look cool, or you're going to die young. So this is Walter Longo. I know you had him on your show. He's got it down. He really did all the science behind it. The third system is mitochondria, upgrading and repairing your mitochondria. Mitochondria are the fuel factories in the cell, and they're actually bacteria. They have 36 genes in a ring, which is bacterial DNA, not 24,000 like we do in a double helix. In fact, that when I met Dr. Salk, he had lost the race to discover the double helix of human DNA. But mitochondria are really bacteria that live inside of us. And if you can optimize energy production so that you don't produce a lot of bad byproducts, reactive oxygen species, free radicals from bad combustion, then you're going to basically be upgrading the quality of your system. And particularly with mitochondria is eliminating the zombie cells that are neither living nor dead, but they still have mitochondria that are now producing free radicals and hormones and making you sick. So these are the three path avenues to them. And one way to do it is through intermittent fasting, as you know, and some of the plants that will silence mTOR are the resveratrol or
Right.
curcumin. They're not very bioavailable. That's the problem. The most bioavailable one is called sulforaphane, and you get that from 5-day-old broccoli sprouts.
Really?
So order broccoli seeds from Amazon, sprout them in a jar. It's so easy to do. And after 5 days, you got a salad, and chew them well. And that's the full sulforaphane, because the capsules don't contain the enzyme that's needed, myrosinase. And sulforaphane is 90% bioavailable. And that will, if I can take you into a bit of the chemistry, will turn on a detox pathway called NRF2, which is knocks out the NRF2 protein from the cell membrane. It goes into the nucleus and begins switching on the genes that create health. And there you got the key for biohacking. You want to silence the cancer genes, the breast cancer genes, the heart disease genes, the dementia genes, and upregulate the genes that create vibrant health and longevity. So if you can focus on these three areas, you've got the formula for biohacking without needing to buy anything or minimal. You can do it on a real budget.